All right. We got to talk about it. It's the end of the Utah Jazz season. The Los Angeles Clippers move on behind an insane performance by Terance Mann. This is the Hoops Nerd postgame show. Guys, I'm in shock a little bit. I am dejected. I am uh a little numb at this point, but first we're going to talk about the Clippers. All I got to say for Clippers fans and for the Clippers themselves is just congratulations. The Clippers were phenomenal. They just swept the Jazz basically. Won 4 games in a row to knock the Jazz out of this. It's impressive. It's impressive. They dominated the Jazz uh in that second half like I've just never seen. I don't have the exact numbers, but I believe they scored like 80 points in like a 22-minute span or something like that. Just insane shot making and athleticism and just a complete and utter failure for the Utah Jazz. I'm not seeing if anyone's in the chat right now, guys. So if you are, join, and we'll share this on Twitter as well. But such a painful loss for the Jazz, and let's just talk about it uh, for the. Let's just talk about it. Let me share this real quick. So the Clippers just were incredible. People in the Jazz Twitterverse and things like that were making comments about all the different lineups that Ty Lue was doing, and it turned out that Ty Lue just absolutely dominated the Jazz. Just dominated them. For whatever reason, guys, the chat's not showing up. I'm really sorry. I do see the donations, though, so thank you, Key. $2. 2015 Atlanta Hawks reincarnated as the 2021 Utah Jazz. I think this Jazz team was better. I do think the injuries hurt them, but guess what? They had Donovan Mitchell this game. They had Mike Conley. I know they weren't 100%, and it still wasn't enough. You know? Rudy fell hard on his hip, and it felt like, I know it's hurt, but he just was not contesting shots very hard. It was like it took the life out of him. It was really disappointing, guys. It was really, really disappointing. Let's see. Let's see if we can do this. Trying. Oh, look. Oh, look. We got it to pop out. I'm not gonna be able to sleep. Ethan Day. There we go. I figured it out. Let's see if this works. For some reason, the chat's being weird tonight. It's kind of acting like the Jazz. It's not working. But let's talk about Terance Mann because he was out of his mind tonight. Terance Mann was an absolute monster. 39 points for Terance Mann. He scored on 7 of 10 shooting from 3, 7 for 10. You think it might have been a good idea to figure out a way to get a guy out on him, Quinn Snyder? Something. We can figure it out, and maybe it's on Rudy. Who knows? But adjustments didn't happen, whether it's from the coach or the player or whatever. It didn't happen. 15 for 21 from the field for Terance Mann. He was absolutely insane. 39 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. Unreal. Unreal. Just absolute unreal. It was unbelievable. And Utah just had no answer for it. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, about why. But you've just got to give credit to Terance Mann. He was unbelievable. Unbelievable. And the Clippers have had this whole series where they've had guys just step up big time. Like for a lot of this series, it was Marcus Morris. But Marcus Morris tonight had 7 points. But he was 3 for 7 from the field, 5 rebounds. But they didn't need Marcus Morris tonight because they had Terance Mann step up. Every game it was somebody. Nicholas Batum had monster nights in this series. He actually had a really big night tonight. Nicholas Batum, 6 for 9, a very nice field goal percentage or field goal rate, 6 for 9 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3. He had 16 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. Might have been a good idea for the Jazz to pick him up in the when he was available, right? Maybe he could have helped the Jazz. Who knows? But the Jazz didn't do anything in the trade deadline. They didn't do anything midway through the year. We did get Matt Thomas. Thank goodness for Matt Thomas, right? I'm glad Matt Thomas is on the Jazz helping them out right now. Kenny, I believe the Jazz can go all the way. I think literally this year now they can't. Sorry, my friend. Sorry, my friend. The pain is permanent now. Paul George played 45 minutes tonight. He scored 28 points. He was 10 for 24 from the field. The Jazz actually did an okay job on him. 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, plus 19 for Paul George to lead the Clippers. He's been an absolute superstar. And this is like top 5 player in the league level Paul George. Look, I'm thirsty. I'm taking a drink of Diet Mountain Dew. Free promotion, Diet Mountain Dew. Look at that green disappear. Is it late night and I'm drinking Diet Mountain Dew? Yeah, because guess what? I'm not going to be able to sleep. I might as well drink some Mountain Dew, right? The Jazz tried to get Nick, but he had already signed with the Clips. I don't think that's true. I think because the first person apparently Nick Batum called was Rudy Gobert. So I mean, maybe you're right, Ethan, but from things I've heard, it's who knows, but at this point it's spilt milk, right? It doesn't really matter. Patrick Beverley was 3 for 4 from 3 tonight. I mean, they just had guys making shots. Reggie Jackson, 3 for 7. The only person that wasn't 40% plus from 3 was Marcus Morris. Everyone else was over 40% from 3 or a bench player like Rajon Rondo. But as a team, the Clippers shot 51% from 3. The Jazz actually shot 47% from 3. So really, really, really terrible. Key himself, $2. Buy Conley. Hello, Lonzo. Bring on OPJ2. Fire Quinn. It's, you know what? Unless your name's Donovan Mitchell, and we're going to talk about this, then you're not safe. You just aren't. The experiment, the vision this year, it did not work. It did not. The Clippers are a team filled with elite athletes. They weren't even playing Kawhi Leonard, and they were the better team. They just flat out were. They had the better coach. They had better players. Auntie, thank you for joining the channel on this terrible night for Jazz fans and wonderful night for Clippers fans. Maybe you're a Clippers fan. Oh, and there's something I want to kind of talk about with you guys at the end of the show as well. Things I want to do with the channel, because we're going to keep evolving. We're going to keep growing. But anyways, I think that's about all we've got to say. Ty Lue, he's been great. He's been fantastic. He outcoached Quinn Snyder hands down. Absolutely outcoached him. And you can argue like limitations. Well, guess what? Quinn Snyder is in on the decisions the Jazz make for what players they get. He is. He's a part of that choice. And so the players they picked had his fingerprints on it. It didn't work. It didn't work. And we've seen enough. This is 2 years in a row now that the Jazz have been like swept out after having a lead in a series. The other coach figured Quinn's stuff out and swept them. It's happened 2 years in a row now. And the only reason we beat the Grizzlies is because the front office has put up so much talent on this Jazz team. And Donovan Mitchell was healthy against the Grizzlies and just destroyed them. He wasn't healthy in this series, and so I guess you can use that as an excuse. But guess what? They still had other players on the team that they had picked up. Bojan Bogdanovic, Joe Ingles, all these guys that they've given contracts to. Derek Favors has a 3-year, $10 million a year contract or whatever the heck it is. Austin R. Grant, Jazz got to blow it up and rethink Quinn. Yeah, I think, you know what? He's the 4th longest tenured coach, and I know he has like a year or 2 left on his contract, but you know what? You really got to rethink a lot of things with this team. You just gave a supermax to Rudy Gobert, and Rudy Gobert was terrible tonight. But I don't know if you can trade Rudy Gobert. That's a big contract for I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure there's teams out there that would be interested. We'll see. But man, it's rough right now. If you're the Jazz, it's rough. But at least you have Donovan Mitchell. But yes, 25-point lead, gone. 2-0 series lead, gone. Credit to the Clippers, though. They were incredible. They were amazing. They really were. And I'm not going to lie to people. We don't lie on this channel. It was an incredible performance by the Clippers. They were fantastic. Pain. Pain. All right, guys. Before we move on, summer's here and hotter days are here. Keep cool with the help of our friends at Manscaped, who just launched their 4th generation performance package which includes the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Complement your summer grooming routine with a trim from the leaders in male grooming. The sun is shining and calling your name, fellas. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for summer by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code HoopsNerd20. Go there right now, guys. Get yourself a trimmer. Be your best self. You know, the Jazz did not make any adjustments. Sometimes us as men, we got hair coming out. We got hair in our trousers. We want to look our best. You need to make adjustments. Get your Manscaped 4.0 lawnmower and make a change. Did I mention this trimmer is waterproof too? In the shower or under the sun, the Lawnmower 4.0 is the best trimmer for you. Want to take your grooming game even further to the next level? The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker, the perfect tool to eliminate ear and nose hair. Guys, the hair keeps coming out of here, and my trimmer is amazing. It's in my bathroom right now. I'd run and get it and show you again, but I don't want to. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code HoopsNerd20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code HoopsNerd20 at manscaped.com. Stay fresh this summer and shine with Manscaped. It's legitimately great, guys. You save like 20, 30 bucks by doing it. You really do. And if you buy one of those performance packages or whatever packages, there's a lot of different ones. Go check them out. You could save like a bunch of money. So I would appreciate if you go do that. That would be really great. Key himself, $2. Package Bojan up for a John Wall trade. Sign OPJ. I don't know if I want John Wall, but I love OPJ. Chase, welcome to the channel. Sorry, I was making a read. If anyone else subscribed, welcome to the channel, guys. Well, let's dissect the game first. Jazz had a 25-point lead. Jordan Clarkson looked like a madman. Things looked great at halftime. Things looked amazing. And then the second half happened, and the Clippers exploded. They exploded, and it's like 2 games in a row. And no matter what Quinn did, he called some timeouts, I guess, to slow momentum, but I don't know what he did in terms of scheming or changing. But it didn't work. And we continued to let Terance Mann shoot threes. We didn't adjust. We didn't do anything to stop that. The Jazz just kind of run their system, and it didn't work. And the Jazz lost. And there's 2 things about this. And guess what? I like anyone who's online telling you what to say or how to think about this Jazz team is not being honest with you or themselves. They're just not. When you look at this, they had a 25-point lead, and ended up losing the game by it was 119 to 131. They lost by 12. They had a 25-point lead. That's like, what's the swing there? That's insane. That's an insane swing. How does that happen in a playoff game? How did the Jazz not have the ability to slow that down? There were times in the first half where Quinn didn't have either Royce or Oni on the floor, and the Jazz didn't have one single perimeter defender at one point. How are you expecting to stop anyone? Anyone. This team was designed with all shooters around Rudy Gobert. All shooters. They gave up all defense for shooting around Rudy Gobert. That was the thing. Outside, Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley are the 2 best playmakers on the team. Everyone else is like a shooter. I guess Jordan Clarkson's a bucket getter, but everyone else is like a 40% three-point shooter. That's what they did. Royce O'Neal is the best defender on the team. Outside of Royce, you don't really have any defenders. You have Oni, but he can't shoot 40%, so that's why Quinn doesn't ever put him on the floor. By the way, I don't ever want to hear about defense from Quinn ever again. Ever again. Because he put out George Niang in this series every single game. Even tonight. Every single game. And you're telling me we're supposed to defend better? How are you supposed to defend? This is, I don't know whose decision it was to build this team and not have athletes on the floor. I get it. You wanted to have shooting, and that's the best way to have Rudy Gobert on the floor, and it worked. It worked for the regular season. But It didn't work tonight. It didn't work in the playoffs, you know? It just didn't. And you're playing against an elite athletic team. It didn't work. And guess what? They had better athletes that weren't as good as shooters, and they outshot the Jazz, who filled their team with shooters. I mean, the Clippers just outshot them. And the Jazz are supposedly the best shooting team in the NBA. They couldn't shoot. Donovan Mitchell was an absolute. I mean, one thing you've got to say is Donovan Mitchell was. Key, you are one of my favorite people on the planet. Key himself, Manscaped 4.0 gave me the cutest hung under the sun. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome, Key. You're welcome. Donovan Mitchell was an absolute beast tonight. 12 of 27, 9 of 15 from 3, 6 for 9 from the free throw line. He had 9 assists, 9 rebounds. He almost had a triple-double. 39 points, and all this with one leg. Unbelievable. He's unbelievable. And it's why the Jazz just need to make everything about Donovan Mitchell. Everything needs to be him. And everyone else, I don't know. Everyone else kind of let him down. And Mike Conley was really good for the Jazz this year. He couldn't play. He was hurt. And guess what? That's what happens when you have guys in their 30s. They're more likely to get injured. It just is what it is. Bojan Bogdanovic tonight at times was unbelievably bad. I mean, you'll look at his percentages and you'll say, oh, wow, 4 for 8 from 3. That's really good, which is shooting. It's great. The Jazz filled their team with shooters. Royce O'Neal, 4 for 6 from 3. That's incredible shooting. So that's lots of great shooting from the Jazz starters. The Jazz took 44 threes and made 21 of them. And that's incredible. That's 47% from 3. Guess what? They could not defend anybody. They couldn't stop them. They couldn't defend. And Rudy Gobert was bad tonight. He just was. Rudy Gobert was not good enough tonight. But he's been good in this series. He has. But tonight he wasn't good enough. And I don't know if it was weird Rudy stuff where he gets like embarrassed or something, or he falls down, or he gets in his head and it's everyone else's fault or whatever, but he just wasn't good enough tonight. And on a night when Rudy Gobert was not good enough, the Jazz just did not have athletes on the floor to defend. And I know Donovan was hurt, but who was terrible tonight? Joe Ingles was a -18 tonight. Rudy Gobert was a -24. Joe Ingles was horrible. Horrible. He can't defend anybody. Bojan Bogdanovic, has had moments in this series where he defended really well. Tonight, he could not defend. And you know what? You saw in those first 2 games what this Jazz team could be when Bojan guarded really well. When Royce O'Neal had really good defensive moments. You could see how good they could be. And then it fell apart. The Clippers figured it out. Robert Hall, super bummed. Honestly, not surprised, but we have good years ahead because we have Super Spida. Imagine our team in good health. Yeah, it's true. I mean, if they're healthy, maybe they do better. I don't know. But there were a lot of things that I didn't see a lot tonight, even with like a hobbled. I mean, Mitchell shot. I mean, what did Mitchell shoot tonight? 9 for 15 from 3, scored 39 points, 12 for 27 from the field. He's amazing. Rudy Gobert, 5 for 6 from the field. He had 12 points, 42 minutes, which is good. Luckily, he was able to play 42 minutes. It wasn't, I don't know. I don't know what to say. You had all these guys that just couldn't step up. Jordan Clarkson was amazing. 21 points, 8 for 16 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3. He had that insane stretch. Is this even the right? This is, yeah. Is that right? 2 for 6 from 3. He had that crazy first half. I mean, it must have just been all in the first half because then 2 for 6 from 3 in the second, he couldn't make it. So that's interesting. Huh. But Robert, I already forgot the nickname we did. Everyone let me know Robert's nickname. I forgot what we gave you. Phil Besser, but thank you, Robert, for the $5. I appreciate it. Phil Besserell, thanks for all you do, James. Fun year, still one piece away, ride or die. Me too. For reals, forever. forever. But anyways, it's a tough night, guys. It's really tough if you're a Jazz fan. Um, to just see the culmination of this team and have it fall apart. Rudy Gobert is going to make $205 million, and I just don't know if that's tradable. If you want to keep Rudy, I think that you've got to trade everyone outside of Rudy and Donovan, to be honest. You just there's no athletes, there's not enough rebounding. We talked about this at trade deadline, and people on Twitter who, by the way, stop listening to like psychotic people on Twitter telling you everything is perfect, because we talked about this at trade deadline. How many times did we talk about trading for someone like Larry Nance, an athlete who can rebound the ball and shoot threes? A John Collins, would be amazing. An athlete who can like shoot threes and get rebounds. This Jazz team, I mean, how many rebounds did they miss? How many times could no one get on the floor and get the ball? Like, you just have so little athleticism on this team outside of Donovan Mitchell. You do. Like, Bojan Bogdanovic, not an incredible athlete. I like Royce O'Neal. I think he did a solid job, and he's turned into a nice shooter, and he shot well in this series. Royce O'Neal was actually really lights out from three in this series. Sorry, I'm tired. No yawning. But he's not an elite defender. He's a good defender. I don't think he's an elite defender. Mike Conley is I mean, between Mike and Donovan Mitchell, it's a really small guard lineup. It's just really small. And then you combine Mike and Donovan, both not like Mike is actually a pretty good defender at times, but man, when he defends hard, it feels like he always ends up injured. And they are just small. But yeah, you have Mike and Donovan, and it's just a size issue. And then outside of them, you have Bojan and Royce. And Bojan's not an elite defender every single night. And he's definitely not an elite athlete. He's not an above-the-rim guy. He's just not. He's an incredible shooter. But tonight at times, I mean, he had that 1-3 that was just wide open, and it just felt like, and he had that turnover. He had 3 turnovers tonight. Just killer. Just absolutely killer. Really rough. Mike Conley, 6 turnovers tonight. Ugh. Oh, painful. But yeah, guys, let's just talk about the future of the Jazz, because this is where we're at. It's now time to talk about it. Stop listening to people that tell you you're a bad fan. Guess what? It's time to use your eyes. Use these eyes. What you see is what you see, all right? If someone says there needs to be a change, it doesn't make them a bad fan. That's what being a fan is all about, is looking at your team and wanting them to be better. It's not a freaking religion. It's a sports team. It's a basketball team. It's not a freaking religion, all right? If there needs to be a change, it needs to happen, okay? And you don't want to waste years. You only have certain players for so long. I think having Donovan Mitchell on this team maybe he has like 3 years left. Maybe he's beyond that. Maybe not. I don't know. But while he's on the team, you need to maximize the possibility as best you can. And we've seen 2 years now, 2 years in a row, the Jazz go up against a team with comparable talent, and the other coach figures out Quinn's stuff, and then they sweep the Jazz. Last year, they were up 3-1. 3-1 on the Denver Nuggets. And they swept them. The Nuggets swept Quinn. They swept him. And there were no answers. And Quinn does not change. Does not. I mean, he played Rudy more minutes, thank goodness, finally. But Rudy wasn't very good tonight. And Terance Mann went bonkers and nothing happened. Can we put Urson or something out there? Can we try something? I don't know. But nothing changed and nothing happened. And guess what? What's the definition of insanity or whoever said that, Einstein or whatever, doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and expecting a different result? It's psychotic. Will Bowden, $5. Thank you, sir. Are we cursed? Don, D. Wade, and Ryan should meet tomorrow and decide who to keep, and that's it. Is Rudy tradable? His contract sucks. Fire Quinn and Lindsay. You know what, Will? You might be right. You know? You might be right. Guess what? Quinn Snyder didn't adjust midway through the game, and Dennis Lindsay and them didn't adjust midway through the season. We didn't adjust. Thank goodness we have Matt Thomas, right? Thank goodness. That was a great trade. Torrey Craig was traded for cash. Cash. Can't go get Torrey Craig for a year? You don't think Torrey Craig could have helped in this series? A big athletic defender? I don't know. Seems like he might have been nice on the perimeter. Might have been nice. Especially when half your team's injured. Would have been nice to have a little bit of depth. But the thing is, guys, and this is why I you know what? I'm just going to be honest. I don't think Quinn should be back next year. He shouldn't. Why? What next year is going to be different? We're just going to do the same thing we do every year. Set up a system, play that same system all year long. Make sure the players execute it to the perfect level, and then if they don't execute it enough, well, it was the player's fault and not coach. Well, guess what? We need someone who's going to be willing to adjust. Try different things. Can we give coach of the year to the system and not the coach? Because my goodness, that's what it felt like this year. And people complained about the coach not getting it. Sorry, he wasn't the coach of the year. He wasn't. And you guys who watched with me all night understand that. It was just terrible at times. Honestly, the record should have been better. There were things that needed to happen. Will Bowden, welcome to the channel. Welcome to Rookie Will. Thank you for joining the channel, Will. Welcome. We got a rookie with potential. I don't know if Quinn Snyder will play you, Will. But you know what? The Hoops Nerd channel will. The Hoops Nerd channel will give you a shot. We don't just play the same players every single night and expect things to be different with every single team. Robert Hall, $2. Ryan Smith and D Wade are going to make some changes. I hope so, Robert. Robert, you've been amazing all year. Shout out to all the All-Stars and all the members. You guys have been amazing this year. It's been so much fun. Tonight's a night of sadness. Sip the dew, my friends. It's a night of sadness, but you know what? If there's one thing the Jazz, and this is depression talk tonight. This is the pain train. Donovan Mitchell is a superstar. He's a top 10 player. He is. He's like a younger D Wade, a younger D Wade or like a younger Dame. I mean, he was doing insane things tonight. Those pulling up from distance. The thing is the Jazz need to start acting like a big boy team now, and they need to start doing big boy stuff. It's not your dad's Jazz anymore. Can't get away with it. You have a superstar, Donovan Mitchell. You have a superstar. Rudy Gobert is a really nice player, and his contract might make him untradeable. And I actually think, you know what, Rudy Gobert is the defensive player of the year, and he's amazing. He really is. And he had moments even tonight where he was awesome. But Utah surrounded Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert with non-athletes. I mean, how old are some of these guys? Bojan Bogdanovic is in his 30s, mid-30s now. He's not getting younger. He's not going to become a better defender. He's 32. Let's see. Joe Ingles, who at times was being asked to guard on the perimeter, 33. And he was getting torched. And by the way, last year, Quinn Snyder did the same thing. He just had freaking Joe Ingles guarding, what was his name? Murray on the Nuggets. And he just had him on an island guarding Murray, and Murray just destroying him. It's just ridiculous. George Niang is one of the guys we're putting out there. Who's he guarding? Derek Favors is crippled at this point, it feels like. He just can't stay healthy because he's got chronic stuff. And we're paying him $10 million a year for 3 years. MLE's gone. We had that MLE, and we used it on Derek, which at the time seemed really good, but he can't. You can't stay healthy. Royce O'Neal is nice, but he's probably one of those guys that you keep because he's a nice role player and he can guard. But that type of guy, like the Jazz need to go out and get freaking dogs. Like they need to go out and get Thibault. Go trade Bojan for Thibault. I bet you could get him. You know, that Sixers team always looking for shooters. I don't know. You know, if you can sign and trade Conley for someone and just make this team around Donovan Mitchell or something. You've got to make moves. You need athletic wings that can defend on this team. And you know what? Rudy Gobert will look even better. He will. I don't know. It's really rough. And you need a coach that can adjust and come out with game plans game to game. I'm so tired of having just a set system that all we do is that. And it's just that. And every night is like literally scripted because honestly, I promise you the coaches have meetings before they have shoot around. And in those meetings where they sit around, Quinn tells them this is going to be our rotation and they follow it as if it is set in stone like the 10 Commandments. It just doesn't change. And we don't adjust until it's like panic time. We don't, it's wild. It's craziness to me. And when I say big boy team, it's time to start building a team around a certain amount of guys, and you retool every year with guys like this, like Terance Mann, or go out and get Pat Beverly or someone like that. You need defenders, guys that you can defend, athletic defenders. Go out and get a Marcus Morris because he's big and he can defend and he's strong. PJ Tucker could have been had. You think PJ Tucker would have helped? I mean, was it a surprise to anyone that he went to the Bucks and now he's guarding KD and doing a pretty solid job, playing his heart out, athletic, strong, rebounding? That's what the Jazz needed, and it's time to start being a big boy team. And here's another thing. I'm sick and tired of players joining our squad and having to get a freaking dissertation in Quinn's system. It shouldn't be so hard to learn the system. Why is it so rough? Why does everything have to be so complicated? You have the talent that you don't need it to be complicated. You have Donovan Mitchell. You have that guy now. He's that guy. He is. Top 10 guy. You got him. Rudy Gobert is a top 20, top 15 player. He was not a top 10 guy tonight, that's for sure. But Rudy Gobert is a nice complementary piece. You got to go find athletes to surround those guys. You just do. You need defenders. You probably need someone who can move the ball and stuff. But you need guys that can drive. You just need different guys. It's just time to change. It's time to change the outlook because the one they went with this year did not work. It did not work. And, there's no easy answers out there. You've got to do some trades. You just do. And you know what? If you're going to bring it back and bring back the same guys, you better not bring back the same coach. All right? Because we've seen what happens with this guy. He does it. I mean, honestly, we lost game 1 because Quinn didn't adjust. He kept Rudy Gobert out of the game, and it lost the Jazz the game. Played him 24 minutes. Could have swept him earlier. You think one less game against the Grizzlies might have been nice? Perhaps we're not in this situation. Perhaps we're healthier. But there was no reason the Jazz should have lost that first game. And we should have played him, Rudy Gobert, more in game 3 and 4. Should have just freaking played him. Or done something else. But Quinn keeps putting out these same stupid lineups. These same exact things every game. We can dog on George Niang all we want. Guess what? George Niang shot 40+% from 3. That's a player that can provide you value in a lot of situations. Against this team, no. He's just not athletic enough. He's not. Does that mean George Niang is trash? No. It just means you need to adjust and play someone else. Put an athlete on the floor. Someone that can defend. I don't know. You need to do something because this is devastating. This is terrible stuff. And if you don't do this, what are you telling Donovan? And you already pissed Donovan off with your stupid health team. Donovan hired his own health team because he doesn't trust the Jazz's one. The front office team did not do its job, didn't do a good enough job. And Donovan played hurt. Donovan should have played game one. Should have played game one. The Jazz would have won that game. And maybe you would have got a little extra rest before this Clipper game. Because guess what? The Clippers went 7. So, lots of things. We can complain about injuries. Well, we should have played Donovan more, and he would have got a little more rest. Eric C, $4.99. Thank you, sir. The C stands for champion from Eric C. Thank you. I appreciate it. Furby J, like Ursan, we had the guy, Quinn didn't play him. And Ursan's not changing anything, but guess what? I'd rather have Ursan on the floor than George. George couldn't hit a shot. He had as many turnovers as he had points in this series, guys. And Quinn Snyder kept playing him. Anyone who's defending Quinn, you are entitled to your opinion, obviously. But you've got to explain to me why George Niang kept getting rolled out there. Derek Favors could not do anything for 4 games. Was just putrid. Horrible. Quinn Snyder keeps rolling him out there or playing the same minutes, same rotations until like game 5 or 6 when it's panic mode, and it's too late at that point. I'm so sick of that, guys. I'm so sick of that. I am so tired of seeing the same things every single game. It doesn't change. It doesn't mean you have to make huge adjustments every single night, but you got to be willing to change here and there. You got to be willing to change between series. And there's no excuse this year for injuries, because guess what? You had everyone tonight. You did. And it didn't work. Even with Conley on the floor, Quinn didn't even play him all that much. Mike Conley tonight, and Mike Conley wasn't very good. Mike Conley played, let's see, how many minutes? Maybe I'm wrong. 25 minutes. It's the series. Was that a minute restriction? I don't know. But you know what? Conley just didn't come up big for the Jazz. They needed him to. He didn't. There was just a lot of guys. I am at a loss. But, maybe you have to re-sign Conley. I don't know. I don't know why you have to re-sign Conley, honestly. You have Donovan Mitchell. Make some moves. See what you can do. Maybe it's time to go into the draft. You've got guys that you maybe work up. But I'm sorry, guys. Eric C, all we brought in at deadline was Thomas and Ursan. Come on, it's not on Quinn. Can I just be honest with you guys? Quinn Snyder is a part of that front office. He makes a lot of decisions like this. I don't know exactly all, but I do know that he is part of those decisions. And Matt Thomas is obviously a Quinn Snyder pickup because he kept playing him. He was playing Matt Thomas over Elijah Hughes. That's a Quinn Snyder decision, guys. I could be wrong, but I know that he is involved with decisions. I know that. And so when we say, well, they only did this and this and this, well, that's partly because they probably talked with Quinn about it. This is, I would bet a lot of money, that this was the team that Quinn Snyder told them he wanted and he could win with. So, I don't know. Ezekiel, my man from down under, $2. Thank you, sir. Rick Carlisle's a free agent now. Okay, let's talk about Rick Carlisle. He is a guy that won one of the most impressive NBA championships we've ever seen. Dirk Nowitzki with freaking Jet, Jason Terry, and a not washed up, but an old Jason Kidd. And that beat the big three in Miami with LeBron James. That's the type of coach that guy is, what he's able to do. He was able to make friggin' Porzingis, who looks like a broomstick with legs, looked like a nice player last year. I'm like Porzingis looked terrible in these playoffs this year, but there were like not a lot of choices for him, and that team dang near beat this Clippers team. They were closer to beating the Clippers than we were. They went to 7 with less talent, to be honest, and we went 6. And I know that Jazz had injuries, but guess what? If the Jazz had injuries, I don't know if it affected Donovan too much because he was incredible shooting, unbelievable. I don't know, guys. And you know what? Eric, you're completely, if that's your opinion, that's totally legitimate. You guys are totally, I just disagree. Furby Jr., Ty Lue is underappreciated. Yeah. People were like making fun of all his different lineups. Guess what? He found the lineups that worked, and he found the guys that were ready to like show up, man. He did. Stop making fun of guys for making changes. Guess what? Trying different players on your team is what good coaches do. You know what Rick Carlisle does? He changes who he plays on the floor based on what the other team is doing. He doesn't just do it because that's what our system is, and that's like, honestly, like it's like a freaking episode of Voltron where we just like every single episode it's just like call on Voltron and we win the episode every year. Well, guess what? In the playoffs, you're playing against like another Voltron with like different I don't know. This metaphor is going nowhere. All I'm saying is like it's just the same thing every time. Nothing changes. It's not good enough. And by the way, I know he deleted the tweets, but Tony Jones agrees. The tweets are deleted, but he was right. And he said, these are the types of losses and playoff losses that change a franchise completely. Don't be surprised if everything goes kaboom. And honestly, I hope so. Because, when you have Donovan Mitchell mad at the health team, that's a disconnect between the front office and player. When you have Quinn Snyder doing things with the system and you have certain players like tweeting out things like you just got to get through it and things like that, like that's disconnect with coach and players. When you have a team on the floor that has obvious flaws and the front office is not making moves because the coach and things, that's a disconnect between the front office and the coach and the players. There's just a lot of disconnects. There's not a lot of cohesion. It's bad. The Jazz are really quiet with all these things. So I guess they do a good job of making everyone think that everything's perfect. But I promise you, there are disconnects. And they didn't get better at the trade deadline. And, whether that's Quinn or the front office, you can blame both or one or the other. But guess what? The front office didn't make moves at the trade deadline, and Quinn didn't make moves in this series. He just didn't. He did the same thing. The only adjustment he made was like play certain players more. But he didn't change who was playing. And part of that problem is that during the year, and we talked about this all year, all of you hoops nerds, all of us talked about this. Every single night we'd say, well, why isn't Juwan Morgan getting a little bit of time? Why aren't we putting out Udoka to see what we got there? Derek Favors looks washed. Can we give Derek Favors a rest and give Udoka a little bit of run? Because washed Favors at times looked terrible, but it didn't matter. We just did the same thing every night. And so now when you're in the playoffs and the rubber meets the road and you've got live fire going, you don't have any answers because you don't know what you have. Udoka might have been a nice thing to put in this game. We have no idea. We'll never know because he never got run during the season. Elijah Hughes balled out in the G League. Balled out. He was so good, the Jazz had to bring him back. Also, the G League ended really quick. But he was balling. And when he was on the floor with the Jazz, he shot like an insane 40+%. The guy could absolutely get buckets. Never could see the floor. Quinn would pull him like he did Dante Exum. Treated him like the friggin' whipping boy. Because Quinn's got to have someone to blame besides himself. By the way, go read the quotes from Quinn Snyder tonight. It was everyone else's fault. It's always someone else's fault. It's always that the Jazz players did not execute good enough. It's always someone else. And I'm personally sick of that attitude. To me, that's not an attitude that gets you better. Cuz all that means is like, well, I did everything perfect, and what that tells me is that maybe you're not the guy. Because if what you did was perfect in your mind and we lost, Will Bowden, $5. Thank you so much. People acting like we need to defend millionaires' money. Quinn will get a new job, maybe Dallas or Milwaukee. Give Dom whatever he wants. No more 90s Miller's Jazz. 100% agree. I'm sorry. Quinn will get hired immediately by someone else, and he can go create a system for their team and do it every single night the same way for them. Like, let go. Quinn will be hired. There are 5 teams that'll hire Quinn right away. If you're worried about Quinn, he'll be fine. He can go be the coach of the Orlando Magic tomorrow, and I promise you they'd hire him. But the Jazz need a change. You just need a change. You need Donovan Mitchell to feel like he is in control of what's going on with the future of this team, because Donovan Mitchell is a superstar, and right now you've got to make sure you keep him happy. He did not look happy to me tonight. I tell you that. Tell you that much. It's his team, by the way. This is not Rudy's team. This is Donovan Mitchell's team from now on. Creed Curtis, $1.99. Thank you, Creed. I really appreciate it. That's really nice of you. What would it take to get Dame? I just want to be honest with you, Creed. There is just no way that they're trading Dame. There's just no way. When you have a guy like, are we going to trade Donovan Mitchell? If like in 3 years, when Donovan Mitchell's 7-year rookie scale ended and he he re-signed a supermax with us or whatever, like, would you trade Donovan Mitchell? No, no way. So the Portland's the same way. Like, Dame means so much to that city and that team. Just like Donovan Mitchell means so much to the Jazz. Dame is the same way. Dame means more because he re-signed, you know? I don't know what's going to happen with Donovan Mitchell in 3 years. He's a great dude, and I hope he stays with the Jazz. If he stays with the Jazz, could you imagine the love you would have for that player? There's just no way you're trading that guy. There's no way. Robert Hall, $2. James Hansen, Coach of the Year. Hey, backseat Coach of the Year, right? Backseat driver Coach of the Year. Furby Jr., Dame's a free agent? No, he signed a super duper max. He is locked in for the next 3 or 4 years. There's no way you're getting Dame. Like, I'm just being honest with you guys. There is no way. I know it's Jazz fans' favorite thing to talk about. There is no way. So, just got to think of something else. By the way, do you really need Dame? You have him in Donovan Mitchell, right? I mean, did you see what Donovan Mitchell was doing tonight? He was amazing. He's on Dame's level, guys. Like, Donovan Mitchell is on Damian Lillard's level. We got him. His name's Donovan Mitchell. You know? Just, would it be nice if we had Dame and Donovan Mitchell? Yeah, it'd be incredible. But we probably should think about more athletic defenders and just support Donovan Mitchell and make Donovan Mitchell an MVP candidate next year. You know? By the way, Donovan Mitchell didn't make All-NBA and he lost $33 million. That sucks. That is a big deal, and no one's talking about it. It's a big deal. It sucks, and part of that's injury. Utah needs to make him a superstar in terms of money. Like, next year, Donovan Mitchell needs to be All-NBA. He just has to be. And you know how you do that? You get another coach that's not in a shared system like we do, where we're running a Spurs system, which has worked, and it did work this year. You had a lot of points scored. You won a lot of games. We're going 48 minutes tonight. That's fine with me. You had a shared system, and Donovan Mitchell still exploded within that system. He's incredible. But guess what? Donovan Mitchell needs to average 30 points per game next year or more. There should not be a season from now on that Donovan Mitchell isn't just like getting buckets with the best of them at the top of the league. You need him to be All-NBA so that you can offer him the super duper max, so that you can offer him more, because he lost $33 million this year. And that's not like Quinn's fault, because Quinn did set up a system. Like, you've got to give credit to Quinn. He did set up a system that won this team a lot of games, but that system did not hold up in the playoffs. And this makeup of team with shooters and Rudy and Donovan It it worked in the regular season. It blew out a lot of bad teams. It beat a lot of average teams, and it wasn't good enough against great teams. And we saw that during the season. We did. The signs were there. I think we kind of lied to ourselves a little bit. Ah, Sensei or something like that. It doesn't. I can't see that blue. I probably should change the color of that so I read that better. Welcome to the channel. Uh, let's see. Eric C, we're so screwed. I'm gonna edit having Rudy around and his contract. Why did we not wait to run his contract out and have everyone see how he is in the playoffs? You know what? I actually don't think it's that bad. I actually think that there's a lot of teams out there that would trade for Rudy. I don't think it's like Rudy Gobert's really good, guys. He is. Like, he is not a superstar in terms of like, all these different types. But if you want to trade Rudy, there are teams out there you could trade him to. Now, you might not get what you want. You might not get what you want, but maybe it's okay. Maybe you do need, like, you know what I wanted to, and I think in the end you're probably keeping him because in the end with trades, you either need to get really nice picks that, you might potentially get a guy that's a higher probability of getting a guy replacing the guy you're trading, or you've got to trade for something comparable. With a guy like Rudy Gobert, probably not getting something super comparable. I mean, my dream trade would be to go get John Collins and Clint Capella or something like that. But they have a Kongwu. I mean, if you could, like, what I would be a dream for me, although the thing is it's just very, you've got these teams, it takes two to make a trade. You might be able to get Clint Capella, and maybe you can, I don't know. But there, there's value out there. He could get traded if you wanted to. I don't think you're getting back exactly what you hope, but maybe that's okay. Maybe it's time to change a lot of things about the Jazz. It might be. Or maybe you just bring back Rudy Gobert because he was the defensive player of the year and fill the team with actual defenders. Like, what if the Jazz had defenders tonight that could actually defend? They'd probably win this game. Maybe. But yeah, it's a big contract. It's tough. You're probably not trading it. Rudy and Donovan is a solid core, and that's a core that can probably bring in someone like Rick Carlisle. Maybe that's the big change you need to do. Guys, I'm telling you, we got worship God, not coaches. Right? Let's just get real up in here. All right? Quinn Snyder is a nice coach. He is not the best coach in the NBA. He has flaws. It's okay to question. It's okay to ask, like, why did we do this? Like, sometimes you just need to change. Sometimes things are stagnant. Like, it's not always a good thing if you just run the same thing back every single year. He's like, there are other good coaches out there. There are other coaches that are better than Quinn out there. It's just a fact that can figure out how to do things. Like, honestly, like, if you get a Rick Carlisle, or maybe Dwayne Wade could, I mean, honestly, would you go after Spoelstra? If you could get Spoelstra, wouldn't you take a shot? Because he's amazing. Like, there are like Nick Nurse is an amazing coach in Toronto. He figured some things out. This Jazz team, like, ran one system, and the only adjustment on defense was like a zone, occasional at like here and there. It was the same system every night, and I don't know. But you just, I don't know. You've got to change something, and I don't know how much you can change in terms of the team. I mean, I tell you what, I really like Bojan Bogdanovic. He might be the best asset the Jazz have, that can go to someone who maybe has a younger asset you can fill. And Mike Conley, maybe you re-sign him because that's the best you can do. But you know what? Larry Nance is a really nice player, and he's probably gettable. Matisse Thybulle's really nice, and if they keep Ben Simmons, maybe you can go get him for something. The Jazz have picks, and guess what? We wasted our picks this year. They sucked. They absolutely sucked. Udoka is a sucky pick. It didn't work. Wasn't the right pick. And the picks before sucked. Like they just did. We wasted them. And we traded them for Mike Conley, and Mike Conley was hurt this year. So that sucked. Didn't work. So I don't know. Every single year you've got to be replenishing your talent, and the Jazz just did not. And this year they missed on 2 guys. Jaden McDaniels was there on the board. He leads the league in block rate for non-centers. And he was right there. And we didn't pick him. We picked Udoka. And that was with knowing that we were going to pick up Derek Favors. That was the stupidest pick. It was so bad. It was so dumb. No one wanted that guy in the first round. No one. It wasn't a genius move. And by the way, if you're going to make a pick like that, you better have a coach that's willing to play him. You know? Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Even Coach Bud changed this year a little bit. He adjusted, and he's been not good in the playoffs either. By the way, Coach Bud, who mentored Quinn Snyder. It's rough stuff, guys. It's really rough. I don't know. And if you like Quinn, that's great. I mean, he's not a bad coach. I don't know. But he's not. He's getting out coached every season, basically. We've been swept 2 years in a row. I don't know, and to say, well, injuries and stuff. Well, guess what? The Clippers didn't have Kawhi Leonard. The Clippers didn't have Serge Ibaka. The Jazz couldn't figure out a way to take advantage of that. They were injured too. Who wasn't injured this year? I don't know. I'm not pro Quinn. That's where I'm at. If you guys like him, great. I am done. Anyways, that's okay. It's okay to disagree on things. We don't have to agree on everything. That's fine. Let's give a shout out to our All-Stars, and then let's talk about the channel a little bit. All right. Shout out to And1, Anton Warren. X marks the spot for Zintas, Ezekiel Recibe, my dude from down under. JT Buckets Wardell, Austin R. Grant, editor extraordinaire. Eric C. The C stands for champion. Donald Schooley, schooling all of us. Cody Strickland, strictly the best. Super Mitt Robach. DW to CB, Darren Williams to Carlos Boozer. Jorge Arrizaga, mi amigo de abajo. Lee Christensen, driving the lane. Ryan Perry, the legend. Justin Ty H. Patrick Akubo, the connoisseur. Robert, oh, that's right, Robert Hall of Fame. We remembered for the last game of the season. We ended on a buzzer beater. Robert Hall of Fame and DW Jazz going all the way. Next year. Guys, I was walking around my yard last night. I was watering a bush and a tree. Don't worry, I've cut my watering down for 2 days a week because of the drought here in Utah, which is terrible. And I was thinking about what I wanted to do with the channel because guess what? I felt like things were going to change, and this is a Jazz channel, but it's also an NBA channel. And what I want to do is I want to start doing NBA news. So I look at a lot of different channels out there, and a lot of them are doing the exact same thing where it's like a hot take on the most recent news or things like that. I want to do a news show where we talk about it and treat this channel like a news source in a lot of ways and talk about everything. And that way I feel it uses my talent the best. It's what I do. And I want to start doing that regularly. I still want to do the post games, the lives and all that stuff. And we're still going to do the one-on-ones with the All-Stars and stuff. We got to set it up for this month, by the way. We might be doing that in a few days. I need a little bit of a break, a little bit of a recharge for a few days, but then I'll be back. And I might start doing that. And we'll do a one-on-one. We'll talk about whatever you All-Stars want to talk about, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited about just the NBA news in general and being a place where people come to this channel to, find out what's happening, but then also get a take on it. And that's what I want to do. And that's what I'm going to start doing. And we're going to talk about different news items. And I think I can do that really, really well. Um, anyways, if there's channels kind of like that that you like, maybe you can let me know in the comments about them, and when this video goes live on YouTube or whatever, and I'll look at them. But that's what I want to do. I want this channel to grow. We've done live streams this year, which was super successful and super fun, and I feel connected to all you guys. You're amazing. It's beyond what I expected ever. Should we go after Kelly Oubre? Cook it up, ZZ, $7.99. Thank you, sir. ZZ, you're the man. Kelly Oubre is exactly the type of player the Utah Jazz should go after. By the way, if you can go get Kelly Oubre and James Wiseman and Golden State's first round pick, do you give them Rudy Gobert? Maybe. Would that be something they'd be willing to do? Or maybe you go and you just say, hey, can we have Draymond and Kelly Oubre, and you give him Rudy Gobert, and I don't know. Do you do something like that? Maybe. I don't know. OHSMS. Subscribe to the channel. Welcome to the channel, man. Man, James, if you get any soccer content on here, I'll be here 365. Eric Z. I don't know anything about soccer. Like anything. I know a little NFL stuff, you know. Maybe I'll do an NFL channel for fun on the side. But for now, it's NBA, and I want to do NBA news and be a place, and I think we can grow that way. And that's what I want to do. But yeah, so anyways, we're going to do that. We'll do all sorts of different videos. We'll probably do other just like one-off videos because sometimes I have a thought and I just want to do a video about it, and I'm going to start doing that too. But this off season, I'm going to try some things. It's going to be really fun. If you guys, you know what would help me, guys, is when you comment on the videos. Even just say a comment like, James, I hate your New York Yankees hat that Furby always lets me know. Anything. I don't care. But you know what helps out the channel is when you just leave a comment, because that's how the algorithm works. If they notice people are interacting with it, if people are watching it, it gets shared. And so with my produced stuff, guys, when I produce something, if you know, you don't have to, but if you go leave a comment on it, that would be amazing, because that's the type of thing that helps videos like go on. So anyways, Will Bowden, trade Rudy, fire Quinn, fire DL. Maybe. This offseason might be nuts. Ryan Smith is different than the Millers. He's way different. And he, you know, here's one thing, and we'll end on this, and this is something to think about, guys. Ryan Smith is not depending on the Jazz to make money for him as part of their bottom line. This isn't like Greg Miller and the Miller family having the Jazz have to be profitable. You know, like when the pandemic started and they had to lay people off, that's because like they are dependent on the Jazz to be profitable. And that's why they sold the team to Ryan Smith, because, you know, thank goodness this pandemic is coming to an end. By the way, everyone go out and get vaccinated, please. You know, I want all you to be healthy and safe. I've lost 2 people in my life because of this stupid COVID thing. Go get vaccinated, guys. But anyways, Ryan Smith is not like the Millers. He doesn't have to make decisions based off of bottom line, of business decisions. You know, if he wants to fire Quinn, he can. You know, he's got the money. Eric C, thanks for your channel, bro. The Jazz are just Ryan's plaything. That's the thing. That's what we're trying to get at here, is like when Jerry Sloan like retired and Greg Miller fumbled that like a freaking idiot. Greg Miller, by the way, worst thing that ever happened to this Jazz franchise was freaking Greg Miller. Stupid idiot. Dumb moron. Is one of the worst things that ever happened to this franchise. He bungled that situation so badly. So badly. He's so stupid. But a bad situation got worse when he hired the wrong guy right away. And then not only did he hire Ty Corbin, which was a bad hire because they didn't do the right, take the time to hire the right guy, then they don't make any moves to just make the playoffs. Do you know why they just kept going after the playoffs with like the Al Jefferson and all that stuff? Is because it was about a bottom line thing. Greg Miller wanted to make money off of the Jazz. Greg Miller is why we got stuck with AT&T Sportsnet. Yeah. Greg Miller also, a few years ago fired the health team and hired the UHealth team, and they're the ones screwing things up with Donovan Mitchell. We're still dealing with his stupid decisions. He's freaking idiot moron, Greg Miller. And guess what? Back in the day, he used to send threatening DMs to us at SLC Dunk. Screw you, Greg Miller. Screw you. You suck. Imagine being so trash that your mom has to fire her own son. Imagine sucking that much that your own mom fires you because you're so stupid. And your own mom fires you because she knows that if she left the team to you, you'd have traded him or you'd have sold him. That's why she created the brain trust. Imagine being that piece of trash of a person, that loser, selfish, moron idiot that we're keeping this PG tonight. Imagine being that terrible that your own mom has to create a trust just so you can't sell the team. Just for you, Greg, you idiot, you stupid idiot. And having to be fired by your own mom. Can you imagine how bad you have to be at something to be fired by your own mom? How stupid are you, stupid idiot? Stupid, 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 stupid idiot. Freaking stupid idiot. I hate that guy. I hate that guy. You can swear and you can threaten us all you want, Greg Miller. Come at me, bro. I can say whatever I want, bruh. And it's going to be written on the site too, by the way. I hope you're listening. I hope you're watching this. It's coming. Anyways, that loser who uses the freaking Jazz as his own little money thing so he can go out and make to the car auctions and buy cars for $1 million plus while he lays off employees during a dang pandemic. Screw that guy. Screw that guy. Best thing that ever happened was when he got fired. I hate that guy, bro. Freaking hate that guy. Anyways. That loser's gone. I hope we never see that guy courtside ever again. Loser. Stupid idiot. Anyways, Ryan Smith is a great owner, and I'm very glad we have him. And he can do what he wants. And if that means fire Quinn, he can. Because guess what? He's got the money. He's good for it. We don't have to make money so Greg can go buy. We don't have to run it back so Greg can go get his car at the auction again and go buy his, 1967 Ford. Who gives a rip? God. Go look it up. Go Google that stuff. You can go find it all over the place. All you want. Anyways, Ryan Smith's the best thing now. And by the way, we should be, as much as I hate Greg Miller, we should all just give a prayer of thanks for Gail Miller. Saint Gail is what because that lady went freaking Game of Thrones on her own son to save the Jazz, so we all have the Jazz, because Greg Miller would have sold the team, that loser, that trash. He would have sold the team to Seattle if he could have. Gail Miller worked to get a better building. We have a more functional building now with actual good seats. The big jumbotron that they paid millions of dollars for. Saint Gail, she saved the Jazz. Larry Miller brought the Jazz to Utah. Gail saved them. That's how it is. That's how it is. So that trust was because of stupid Greg. Screw that guy. And then, you know what? Gail saw what was going on with the pandemic and the money situation. She was not going to let Greg try to sell this team. I guess she sold the team, but she sold it to someone she knew would keep them here. And since Ryan Smith has owned the team, he has done nothing but make great big moves. Dwayne Wade now owns part of the Jazz and is a part of Utah. That's a big deal. And Donovan Mitchell's hurting tonight. I promise you, he hurts more than all of us. The thought of Greg Miller makes me want to vomit. But Dwayne Wade's a part of this team. Ryan Smith's a part of this team. And you know what, guys? I mean, don't be surprised if there's big changes. He's going to want to make his fingerprint on this team. And what we really need to do is sweep out the excess and sweep out the nepotism, because the Millers and the LHM and all of that stuff, from every corner of that franchise has nepotism to the max. Believe me. It's not great. There is a disconnect, and there are things that need to be swept out. Just some spring cleaning this year that needs to happen. And you know, that probably means the team and the players too, but you've just got to fix things even more. And things have gotten better. The Millers weren't the worst owners. Greg Miller is a dumb idiot, but Gail Miller was a good owner. And Dennis Lindsay has done some really nice things. He's made some big mistakes too, but he's done some really nice things. And this team is a respectable, solid franchise, but it has things that it can do better. Things can go better. We're going long. It's 1:24 Mountain Time. Thank goodness it's Friday night, right? Guys, I thank you for this therapy session. I needed to get it all out. You guys are amazing. I don't know. I don't have anything else to say. Can we just clean out every hint of Greg Miller from this team possible and make it Ryan Smith's fingerprint everywhere? Because it'll be better that way. You know what? It might mean Danny Ainge is our new GM. Who knows? Don't be surprised if that happens. By the way, don't be surprised. All right. You guys are amazing. Happy Juneteenth, Will Bowden. I agree. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. New holiday. Shout out. Juneteenth. That's a nice holiday. I'm very glad that happened. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys. It's been a fun season. It's been great. This channel's growing. I am completely blown away by your guys' generosity. It's unbelievable. And I consider you all friends. I know we don't, talk to each other in person, but I feel like you guys are legitimate friends of mine, and maybe that sounds weird, but I mean it and I feel it. You guys are awesome. So I appreciate all of you. You're amazing. Thank you for being a part of the channel. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you if you're just a subscriber and you watch these after the fact. Thank you. You're amazing. I'm sorry this is so long, but you guys are awesome, and this channel's fun, and it's going to keep growing. We're still going to be doing post games, but I want to do NBA as well. We got a lot of guys out there that are like Philly fans, but then also national stuff, and we're going to stay true to who we are, but also try to grow, because I love the NBA. I love the Jazz, but I also love the NBA. It's fun. It is what it is. So you guys are amazing. Thank you for all the commenters, Eric C., Ethan Day, Robert, Will, Furby, all you guys that comment. ZZ, thank you so much tonight. All the donations tonight were amazing. Key himself, you're amazing. You guys are awesome. It's been a fun season. I'm disappointed the Jazz lost. I thought the Jazz had a real shot this year because there was a real window and it didn't work. And it's pain, but we're going to keep going, and the Jazz will be back. And guess what? They have a top 10 guy in Donovan Mitchell, and it's okay to say that because it's true. It's just true. And we don't need Dame because we got Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is Dame. And so anyways, guys, like and subscribe if you're new, if you're watching, if you haven't. If you want to join the channel, that'd be amazing. We're going to figure some things out. We'll do some stuff. I'm going to take a few days off because I need to just recharge. But we're going to come back strong, and we got to sell some Manscaped, so we'll do some other stuff. So anyways, guys, you are amazing. I will talk to you next time.